Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Good morning, my dear students. How are you today? I hope you're fine. Today, inshallah, we are going to end Unit 8 in our course book Global English 7. So the last two lessons, Lesson 5 and Lesson 6, we are going just to speak about this animal, as you can see here in this picture. Do you know it? Excellent. That's called the polar bear. Let's know our objectives today. We are going just to cover here in this lesson, inshallah. So in this lesson, we need just to learn some new words. Okay, we are going, inshallah, that's to memorize and study new words and know new words about the animals, polar bears. Number two, we are going just to identify and we are going to know more fact file, okay, or fact information about the polar bears. Okay. Number three, we're going just to learn how to write or how to make a fact file. And we're going just to know what is a fact file. These are the three objectives. We need just to cover them, inshallah, by the end of the lesson. So let me ask you, the polar bear. What do you know about it? In which countries do you find polar bears? Can we find them that's in Saudi Arabia, or in Egypt, or in France, or which country? Okay. And can they swim or no? What do they eat? Three questions. I need you just to think of them about for a few seconds. So if we looked here at the polar bears, the shrinking word of the polar bears. What's the meaning of shrinking? Shrinking when something that is getting smaller and smaller. So because that's actually nowadays polar bears and most or some of animals are endangered. And when we say endangered, we need just to, yes, exactly, to protect these animals. Because endangered maybe just after a few time or after a long time, they are going to be disappeared. They will be extinct, like dinosaurs. They are extinct. But lions, whales, elephants, polar bears, they are endangered. They are not extinct, but they are endangered. Here, that's in this text, we are going just to read those two texts. The first one, it's a paragraph about the polar bear. It's an article. And in this article, we are going just to read it, and then we need to answer those questions in exercise 3 and 4. And after that, we are going just to learn about the polar bear fact file. And what is a fact file? As you can see here, for example, if you visit or if you visited before any or a zoo, you are going just to find, okay, that there is a card or there is a piece of paper which is written pieces of information about that animal. That's called a fact file. Like here, we are going just to find here type, the habitat, diet, and the average lifespan. Like for example, type, which group or which animal group they relate to, if you remember from the first lesson. So do they relate, or does polar bear relate to amphibian, mammals, birds, fish, reptiles? Habitat, which means the place, or where do they live? Do they live in water, or on both, on land and in water, or in the air, for example? And diet, what do they eat? Number 4, average lifespan. For how long or how many years mostly do they live? Then we are going just to find some notes or some information about that animal. That's a fact file. So if I ask you just to, for example, a project, to write a fact file about any animal, because just I'm going to ask you about this at the end of the lesson. So I need from each one that's to think of any animal, even it's reptile or fish or mammal or amphibian, okay, or a bird. Just choose any animal and then please do a fact file about it, okay? Like for example, I choose a lion, so I will say type mammals or whale, so type fish, exactly. Habitat, water or land or deserts or jungles, okay, like that. And where or which countries are they living? Diet, what do they eat? They eat animals, they eat insects, they eat grass, they eat plants, whatever. The average lifespan, for example, we're going just to find the polar bears here. They are living from 25 to 30 years. Do you know about polar bears? Do you know enough about polar bears? Okay, let's look at these pictures before we read, because we are going just to need these pictures. The first one here, if we find, or these hands or their legs, okay, they don't have that normal fingers like other or like most of animals. Like cats or dogs, they have their legs or hands like this part or this picture. That's called what? Well done. That's called pose. Repeat after me, pose. Great. The babies of the polar bears or the babies of the animal, okay, they are called great cups. Cups. And the last thing here, the skin which between the toes, okay, for animals, or some people that's like the chicken here or rabbit, okay, or frog, there is a skin here between their toes. So this adjective is called, so chicken, okay, or ducks, they have what legs? They have webbed legs. They have webbed legs. Now let's look at the text again. So please just pause the video, okay, for 5 minutes. Read the paragraph and just have a look on the pieces of information about the polar bears, and then let's answer the questions. Pause the video now, read please, and then come back to me. Okay, well done. I hope just you read and finished reading. Now let's know the answers of each one. We need from the text here or from the fact file, okay, a word which means meat eating. When we find that or this animal is meat eater, okay, they are called what? They don't eat plants. They eat only meat, like lions, like polar bears. That's called excellent, carnivorous. Carnivorous. You are going just to find it here. That's in the fact file, in their diet. So that's called carnivorous. Number 2, 3 types of marine mammals that were eaten by the polar bears. You are going just to find them: whales, seals, and walruses. Okay. Number 3, an adjective to describe skin between the animal's toes. If you remember it, yes, it was here. That's webbed. That's pose. Yeah, that's. I'm sorry, I read number 4. So number 3, a word for the feet of certain types of an animal, like birds, cats, rabbits. As we said, these animals, they have pose, exactly. The adjective which is described or which is used to describe skin between animals' toes, that's webbed, exactly as we said. Number 5, a word for baby bear. So the baby of a bear, it's called cup. Excellent. Now, from the article, we need to find out the word here which is missing. When ice, what it turns into water. When ice, what happens to the ice? Excellent. So it melts when ice melts. And number 2, wild animals have to for their food. Wild animals have for their food. Excellent. They have to look for their food. Number 3, when people or animal have no food for a long time, if you need food, so that means you are hungry. But if you didn't eat for a long time, so you would like to eat? No, you are starving. Starving, that's if you are or you didn't have food for a long time. Number 4, polar bears are moving from the ice to the land because they need to, or they are shifting their habitat. And the last one here, animals are in danger due to the climate change. We need to help them to survive. And survive, to stay alive. Like for example, when I say, yesterday I had an accident, but alhamdulillah, fortunately, I am survived, or I survived, which means I didn't die. So we need just to help the polar bears to survive. Before we end, we are going just to watch a short video about the polar bears, how do they eat, and how do they catch their seals, and so. Okay, let's have a look on this video.
At this time of year, polar bears on average succeed only once in 20 hunts. If the hunter is skinny, like this one, that may not be often enough. All she can do is keep trying. She makes a wide sweep to get downwind of the seal. Getting close. Behind the seal. But even so, its blubber alone will contain 100,000 calories, enough to sustain this bear for a week.
Thank you guys. I hope just you have enjoyed the video and just you have enjoyed what did we study today about the polar bears. See you inshallah next time, and we are going just inshallah to start unit 9. Thank you. Inshallah, God save you.